Hey, Kamagu, Tos Kamagu, Tos Kamagu, Kabe. Tabete, Wanti Kwena. Greetings, everyone. I'm still waiting for the people who are arguing. I'm very interested to hear what what conclusions they're gonna reach. But I see the brother Daruk Urwa or Urwa Kauseb has not joined yet. Anyone who can invite him to please come and join the live. I'm not sure if the sister from Namibia is gonna join. I'm not sure if the sister from Namibia is gonna join, but I think they should join so that we can get to the bottom of it. We can talk about Untu, Kaskaten, again, Ko, and all the other stories. The wisdom of the forefathers, the wisdom of the ancients is always something enjoyable to talk about. So I wish they do join. But yeah, I greet you all. I say Tamagu, I say Tosi. Did my big Tosi Bele. Good day to Buntu. Kuvelu Bukai. Kumchana gemnage konzoto konyelezi komaphango konqalo nqake nqasinoxoxo qham omgqwetho ogwadela ndikumzukulwane emampehleni kocabashi ukomo sibomvu komo sikambiko sikamancamo sikamlawo ndikumzukulwana ke mna ke konhlanga manhlane onqabana onqididi ongqungqusho siqhelekazi ohlamba ngobende amanzi ekhona Camagu ndingucanzi mna ndingulisa ndingusanza sesanzonza kwathi umuntu ndingupheka iqhakuba nepheke phemphem ngenqwana ndingusandlalanca ndinguthoka ngobulembe entabeni ndinguncola ngomhluzi amanzi ekhona ndiyacamakusha ke. I greet you all and I welcome you to this assembly, I guess, to this house Gautsuba. I greet everyone, Gautsuba, Khotsong, Tabete, Abe, Aitukhub, and all the different greetings that you guys use. I greet you all and welcome. Tikasab, Urwa Kauseb, feel free to join. You should request. I think you should join immediately. I'm not sure if B-Trigger is gonna come in. Yeah, I see you. Atwacheseb. Good evening. Tikasab, I'm Titina.
Dirna qedi qasab. Isatsika amtitsina.
Dirna qai maqaiya Tikasab maqaiya Atwacheseb. Kaise Qixaqauti Tikai Qaqaqaub for joining, my brother. I thank you very much. I'm not sure if the other individual is gonna join. I think we should wait.
Brother, they're still coming, I think.
All right. How about I play one offering from the songs of healing and the songs of the trance songs of our forefathers? I just play one and then we start officially. Is that fine? I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I don't see why it would not be fine. So we're just gonna wait 1 minute or so and then we're gonna get started. So for Brother Kurua, what I think you can prepare, I'm not gonna try and I will talk afterwards. What I think you can prepare is to address the whole thing of Koi Koi. I've got a lot to say, but to address it, the colonial aspect and the indigenous aspect of all these things, and that whole thing of Hottentot. I'm also going to have a lot to say there, but if you could just chip in on that. You had already started mentioning Utu Kaskaten, who's a counterpart of Agen. We know that. Okay, some of us know that. But yeah, after the song, I think we can start by addressing that. And then there's this thing that people write. I don't know how to read it. That Matebula has written there. I don't know if it's Kwecham or Kwecham. The people who write it it would be nice for them to come and actually explain what they mean when they write that thing. But for me, I can see it's just a lazy attempt to just replace the Khoisan thing. It's all the same to me. So I'm just going to play one more and then we start. We're going to start. Tamagu. As soon as you guys can see Trigger, Beat Trigger, just let Beat Trigger know that they can request to join. Sakale zikazikhahabe. Hey, greetings again, Tabete 1, Tabete Tikwen, Sitona. Greetings to everyone. My name is Sandile. Can you guys hear me? People are complaining that they can't hear. Can you guys just confirm you can hear me properly? My name is Sandile. I am Tanzi. I'm Khiba. I'm Khamadi. Ndiwukhiba ndiwukhamadi. Khamadi wa phofolo. Umfene. Ngagala. Siyacamagusha. I'm not going to take any more time. Okay, some people say they can hear me loud and clear, others can't. It's fine. We'll just continue. Tikasab, Urak Auseb, and I think it's Tikasas. I'm not sure what your name is. You, my people, were talking about something interesting, something very, very important as well. The whole thing of Hottentot and all that. So just to lay some context, here in South Africa, and maybe Southern Africa generally, we have a history of being told who we are. We are always told who we are. You know, we are not allowed, or historically, we're not allowed to decide or to tell who we are by ourselves. So we are very careful now in terms of names and labels and titles. We're very careful on who gets to tell who's who. We also scrutinize the origin of names of groups. I will say it openly. Here, this platform, we subscribe to bloodlines. That's it. Your bloodline is how we trace you, and it's how I will relate to you. So we do have these conversations from time to time. You know, this week, this is the third consecutive day that we are here to talk. So I'm gonna, first and foremost, we're gonna talk about Kwe, or Koi, as some say. We're gonna decipher the mysteries of what Kwe really means, what Kwe is, what it's not. We're gonna try and decipher San, or what people call Bushman, which we don't understand what that means. You know, my clan, by the way, is Kanzi. It's bush people. We are people of the bushes. We even say it. People call me Thad, which means bush. So for me, it's fine when you say bush, because that's really my bloodline. But I'm not sure if it makes sense for everyone. But we're gonna look at that. So I'd like to give Urwach Auseb, to speak first, because he joined first, and then we'll converse. I will chip in here and there, because I have to maintain the decorum there's many people here, right? Um, the rules are like this: you let a person speak and finish. A person is supposed to speak and finish. Now, obviously, I won't allow people to speak for too long. And then once the person speaks and finishes, even if you've got another point you'd like to make, you give the other speaker a chance to finish as well. People are allowed to ask questions. People are allowed to criticize. People are allowed to disagree, especially. I'm allowed to disagree, but I think at least there must be some level of order. Ngena cihosha, ngena chitiba, ngena Mosin.
My voice is burnt, but I'm not going to be very long as well. Thank you very much, my brother. My brother, I will start in this manner. With the sister, she's from Namibia, right? As I believe. So the argument, she asked me a question from another life where she said, Khoi people are different people, you see. Now, with you and I, the knowledge we know, we've never heard of Khoi people. We know only of Khoi people, not Khoi. And with the knowledge we have and that I myself have reached in a point is that we have people in Namibia, and especially Namibia, that are misled at large, not by little, they're very misled. And in terms of knowledge, they always they have this belief that they are the purest, especially the Damaran people. Do you understand? I've met Nama people on many occasions from Namibia. I've never seen Nama in my occasion having arguments with me, right? But even Khum people from Namibia, I've never had an argument. Khum people are very straightforward when they give you things, especially those who are staying from Caprivi, those who are staying from border between those from Ovambo and stuff. They are there. There are those who are living here in South Africa, in Olifantshoek, in Platfontein, in the Northern Cape. Even here in the Free State, there are some of them who are absorbed to the community systems here in South Africa. Most of people in Namibia who are Nukwen, especially Damaran, they think history evolves from them. Do you understand? And I have a problem because the sister here says that Khoi people are mixed people. And I want to teach him where they are coming from, but she didn't give me that opportunity because most of them, they learn things from school. They don't travel, you see. And some of us, we've been to their countries many years ago, and we've seen similarities in culture, but there are some of the things that they're misconstrued with in terms of knowledge, because most of them, they understand things from a colonial perspective. They don't understand things from a research point of view. Most of them, when you read into their history, they say they are indigenous to Namibia, which I don't have a problem. But my engagement with them, Namibia is in Namibia, Botswana, and South Africa was one territory, and Lesotho and Swaziland, and parts of Mozambique and Zimbabwe, it was one. So I want to acknowledge if Nukwen people, they are sufficient to say that they are original, they must give us proof, because I've debunked them on many occasions, on many levels, say no, it's not like that. I respect them because they are one of our own. But the problem of saying Hottentot, when a person says a Hottentot is somebody who is a Khoi, because they're reading things from a white man perspective. She can speak the language, if maybe not, but she can speak they call it Kwe Guap, by the way. This side, we know the language as Kwe Guap. It's not Kwe Guap. We know Kwe Guap. And my question is this, my brother. I mean, my point is this. We cannot have people who don't understand the truth, because I've had many of them on my platforms, and they are heavily misled because they learn things from wrong notion. They learn things from a perspective which they don't understand, because according to them, Khoi people are mixed. So I ask myself, how are they mixed? Because we come from short people. A real Khoi person is short, is not tall. A taller one is mixed. You understand? Because of, you find people who integrated with others. We find a tall Khum. A tall Khum in Platform, you see a Khum that's tall, because they married with the Ovambo people in Namibia. Do you understand? We know that. But Krum people are short people, and I know them for sure. And Krum color is yellow bone. They are yellow Krum people. I know them personally. I don't speak of things that I see on books. I live with these people where I am. So to have somebody from Namibia to come and say to me, no, like your Koboben, all these people, they come from South Africa. These people are not mixed. Originally, these people, they integrated, but they are not mixed because they had their own customs which they fetch from Botswana. Make an example. The Nama in Lochwabe in Botswana, their history connects here. Even those Nama in Kalahari in South Africa, their history connects here. There's some Namas in South Africa. And because of people, they understand history from a genocide that was caused by the Germans in that part of the world. They don't know the truth that there was a genocide of Gordonia in South Africa. There was also Mamusa Torokhab. They don't know those things. They only learn things that they taught from schools because they are very lazy. They think South Africans, they don't know nothing. They have that notion, even with language. Yes, many South Africans, they cannot speak indigenous languages because they were ripped and stripped of that language. But when you read into the data of South Africans in South Africa and those from Botswana, you could see colorations in large. And people in Botswana, they speak openly and they tell you, our forefathers, they came from South Africa in what is present day Eastern Cape, Western Cape. You understand? And Northern Cape, they say that. Some they mention KZN, what is present day KZN. But you find people in Namibia, no, Nama people are mixed. I asked the person, and by the way, I'm glad that she's on the group, in the panel as well. I asked him, she says, Hottentot, it's a term that comes from the Khoi people were referred as that. I asked her, what is Hottentot? Because we know that Hottentot is Tutu Katin Katin. The name does not even come from a Khoi language. It comes from a Kwinkia language of your Kham Kwinkia. And I've also said, with my upbringing from this side, from elderly people, the way we were taught when we were growing up, there's no koi koi. Koi koi, it is a praise philosophy that most even your non-koi people, they use as motu ke motu ka motomo. Koi koi. So you are saying it's a person is a person because of another person. Do you understand? So we know these definitions, where do they come from? But somebody wants to tell us that no, Hottentot, they are mixed. I wanted to tell me, because problem is there are people who are not willing to learn. They want to teach me stuff that they don't know. Do you understand? So I want to give them the platform so that they have a platform to be taught. I don't want them to bring Namibianism into this, because I treat Namibians and South Africans. I don't treat them as, because I live with them this side, and I am not going to I acknowledge if somebody wants to give me a colon. Even on my post on TikTok, there are many of them. I want to say there's Koi Koi and San. I don't know Koi Koi and San. Before I conclude, in Kora history, I'm not going to speak on Nama, because Nama and Kora history is more or less the same. They are more or less the same. Do you understand? Those tribes you find from your Nama, your Kabentu, you have your Tanu in Kora. Do you understand? Your Kai Kauna, your Kai Kauna from the Nama is Kai Kauna. These are your Taibos people. We know them. These are short people. Light-skinned, short people. Now, my question is, if cool people are light-skinned, why is it obliterating us when we were light-skinned as well? Because we know our ancestors were light. For you, you're a Kati. I ask myself, what is the difference between a Krum? A Krum means people. Kwe means people. Kwe means people. Ask a Kwe Dam speaker, they will tell you the same thing. Do you understand? If the sister has something interesting to tell us, let she comes on the platform. But I don't want her to teach me the Namibian mannerism, because I'm going to crush it, because it's wrong. Because I've been to their platforms on many occasions. There are people who don't want to learn when they are being taught things they don't even know of. They like to crush, especially your Nukwen, your Tamaran people, not your Nama, not your Krum people, not your Kwe. Your Kwe people that side, you will never crush you. Instead, they will add. They like to add. Them, they don't add. To them, it's pride. We are Nukwen. So I want her in a platform. She must speak so that we will teach her. And then we have a platform to teach her, because She said Hottentot koi koi. In my knowledge, Untu Katen Katin is not a name that comes from people that she reveres that they are coming from. And koi koi, there's no people are known as koi koi. We know koi. That is why we have your narrow ayo koi. Narrow history is there from the Kora people. Narrow history is there. Your Teichwa, we say there's a history of Teichwa amongst Kora people. There's Haikom history in South Africa. That most of Haikom people they don't pick it up, but I teach them. Swaziland was formed by people who are known as Haikom today. Because their history, there's a map that says that their history, they were also found in those days before there was this so-called Mfikani as well. So I want to give people on the platform. I see also our lawyer is there on the platform as well. I want people to speak so that they can also anticipate, so that we can juice it up as well and to teach people for that sake. If people have knowledge, let them teach us. But the history of Orlam, we know where does Orlam come from, and we know exactly where does that term stem from. But it's not entirely people. People cannot give people who are 50 amongst people who are 3,000 or 5,000 and say, no, these people are mixed. Do you understand? It's fine. We have that amongst around the country. There were people from outside who were absorbed. But you cannot say the whole nation it is mixed. So I want her to come on the book to say what she say, but she must allow when we teach her. Guys, my brother.
Thank you, brother. Before I give, no, I'll give you a chance, just a bit. Before I give you a chance, just to chip in quickly on that. So one, the name Hottentot, there's a contention in reference to Untu Kaskaten, which is Kunkia, Khamka Kunkia or Khamki. And then two, the communities in Namibia, in Botswana, some in Zimbabwe, some in Mozambique historically. A lot of them are here in numbers. There are records of that. There's oral history that proves that. There are clear names today that prove and reference to that. But I'm not gonna give you a chance, but I wanna add this. So the name Kwe or Kwe, I find it very interesting because I'll mention 3 instances. Sometimes when men are exclamating, so men are sitting together and there's something that's shocking to them, so they want to call the attention of the other men. No, what I'm saying is that there are clear names here that relate to the history of some of these people who are in Namibia today, in Botswana today. These clear names still relate to those people as their people. Give you an example, the Nama, you still have people who have the clear name Kwelane here in South Africa, which refers literally to Nama people. You still have people with clear names like Twecha and Kacha, which refers to Nama people. You still have people with the clear name Ngukwe right now, today in the Eastern Cape, which refers to Yongukwen. So there are many. Those are just the 3. I could go on and name 5 or 10 or 20. But anyway, back to the name Kwe or Kwe in reference to Koi Koi. I just want to put out there that when men want to exclamate and call the attention of other men, if they speak Sesotho, they'll say, Hebana, basically saying, my fellow man, notice this. But if they speak Xhosa, they'll say, Kweku, which we know if you speak Kwemana or Kwedam, you know, Kweku is like a plural form of saying man, our men, calling their attention. So that's 1. 2, there are people right now, as I'm talking to you, with the surname Kweia. Kweia is like a translation of Bantu, a man's people, the people's man, you see, a leader of the people, something along those lines. So you have Kweia. It would also be Kwei Aub in Botswana, I believe. And then lastly, there are people with the last name Kwe, literally. And these are things you could always go and check online. Just search Kweia and it's just going to come down. Many people on LinkedIn, on Facebook, those are their last names. There are many others I could mention, like no qala, which refers to the hair, the tuft peppercorn hair. And so it's a big part of South African heritage. I mean, even when we speak about the essence of a person, we like to talk about khwa. When we speak about the essence of a person, we like to talk about khwa or kwa, or ku. But that I think the ku part is in connection to kunkia. We also use words like khawb for a young man. So young men who went through initiation may be called ikaba or likau, kau or khawb. There's people who use these as first names. So I'm just saying that words like kwe or koi, as some people say, are not necessarily limited to the definitions that colonizers used. Like, oh no, koi is a group, and it's not a group; it's just a word. You understand? But that's not my place. I'm just gonna give you a chance now to respond, and then I'll also chip in on that, and then we can keep it rolling.
All right. Greetings, brothers. Greetings, my sister. Okay. For the most part, we are in agreement with everything you're saying there. We are in agreement. I think me and him, we got off on the wrong foot because she was closing her live and I was in a hurry to get my answer from him. So I was just direct, and I think maybe I came off as rude because his reaction was to fight me back. So I think he thinks I was fighting him, but I wasn't. And I'm born in the 80s. I know my connection to South Africa, Botswana, and generally the southern region. I'm not a kid baby like that, So I do know we were once one, and I do know, like, I'm from the Zambezi. What you were referring to as Caprivians, we actually don't like that term. It's very offensive. But yeah, what you were referring to as Caprivians, yeah, that's where I'm from. So I do understand my connection to you and our people in Botswana. In fact, half my family is in Botswana, honestly, if I have to be honest with you. We do reunions every December. So I do know, I fully understand. So I do not feel any disconnection to you guys. He just misunderstood me because I was in a hurry and maybe I came off rude. My thing is, I just wanted to know if you guys over there, you have indigenous black namas. Because when these people entered the region, they were already mixed. You understand? As they were proceeding, conquering and clearing lands, they were already mixed. When they reached Windhoek to establish Windhoek, they were already mixed. Originally, it's Ngagams, but they're already mixed. They came to change the indigenous name. So you see how funny they were moving. So I look at them like the mixed race people who were doing damage in my country. Although at the time it didn't exist like that as a country. So I just wanted to know from him if you guys have pure indigenous black namas. I wanted to know what they look like, what are their clans, just to get familiar with that part of information. I was even saying in the comments earlier before I came on the panel to ask him questions that what I do know is that our history is suppressed. It's not erased, it's suppressed. But you might find that you have a piece I don't have. So I would like to learn from you. I kept telling him this, but maybe I came off rude or what, I don't know. But he felt like I was fighting him. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that. I'm going to give you Tikasap quickly. I just need to prompt the other part about Hottentot's sister. If you can just touch on that, because you said something around Hottentot's son. Just say the same thing. Because I want it to be clarified.
Here's the thing there. How our situation is set up, right? There was this separation between the two. The ones that we know as Hottentot, the ones that we know as Khoi, like us. There was a separation between that and what was referred to as Bushman. And the treatment was also different. That is why I don't even like the idea of mixing the two into one, because the experience is not the same.
Yeah.
And in actual fact, they were hunting us. You understand? This is before their own genocide. That genocide of theirs came later. But even during their genocide, the wiping out of our people was throughout time. It wasn't like, oh, maybe like a young 5 years. That is why there's barely, some parts of Southern Africa, there's not even any. Maybe you'll find 100 out of the whole population. You understand? So that's why I have a problem with mashing us with them when it comes to these discussions. That's where I was coming from. And obviously, like with me, we also have terms like Makwengo, Kwe. Kwe is what generally our tribe is called, like Kwe, just like that. But that term, Kwenko, was used disrespectfully and negatively. We don't even want to hear it, to be honest with you, as
Yeah.
and it's still used as an insult. Even the government had to ban them from calling us that because it turned into an insult altogether. So like the experience is not the same, you know. So that's why I wanted clarity, because usually when it comes to the conversation of who's indigenous, they usually also group in those mixed ones who are also doing damage on top of them. That's where I was coming from. And because it's a sensitive issue, and then Mimi was closing, and I had to wrap it up in 5 minutes, maybe I came off road.
No, I understand. Don't worry.
Yeah. That's all.
Okay.
So I apologize if I was rude to you, my brother. Again.
It's fine. I'll give the brother now a chance to respond. Tikasas Tony says, if you could just be patient a bit so that Kurua can answer. I wanna say, I hear you. I hear your questions. I want everyone to just allow the thing to flow. You see, we're gonna correct each other as time goes, because there's words that get thrown around. We have to figure out what they mean. Like, for example, words that came with Europeans. It's not just the derogatory words. It's the words that we've accepted today. Hottentot, Bushman, Kafir, black, half caste. All these words, they came with Europeans. So what we do is in the pursuit of unlearning, we have to unlearn everything. We can't choose, we hate this one and this one, but we accept this one. And I'm mentioning this in the context of indigenous and black at the same time. You understand? Maybe we can decipher what that even means, because in my opinion, if someone is indigenous, they don't need to be anything more. They're already indigenous. They don't need to be labeled by anything. Indigenous means of birth. The bloodline has old history in this region. They trace origin in this region. And also indigenous is not some token for anti-blackness, but at the same time, it's not to be, we must not confuse political identity with bloodline. That's what I'm going to say. So there's layers to this, all of these things, all of these identities, Khoisan, Hottentot. We must remove the colonial aspect of it, but we'll get there. I'll give my brother a chance to answer. Kamaku. Up. If you're still with us, otherwise I can continue.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my bro. No, I've forgiven her, my sister. I've forgiven you. It's fine. Like you said that anybody has a right to disagree. There was a sister as well on the panel who invited me on a live. She said she used to disagree up until she saw what I told her. Do you understand? So anybody has a layer of their own emphasis. The part I wanted to express, Nama is a nation, first of all. And it's not Nama. It's called Nama because of colonial name. It's Naman. Those people are Naman. They are not Nama. These are Naman. These are they are called, referred as Nama, because the reason being they have been called Nama. It's just like me as a Kora, we are called Korana.
Yeah.
It's Koratona, right? We have been referred by these names because these are colonial names as well. My education with her is they are a nation, and a nation can be comprised with people who are not from there, which is exception. I don't want to swear at people and say, no, This is a rechtakwe, this is rechtakweni, or who is who is not who. Like for example, I've made an example. Even there's also our lawyer, your Tony says as well. If she can look at her facially, she looks indigent. By no any chance. She looks who she is. Because problem is with our people, they want to I acknowledge, as you have said, things according to the political system, to say Nama are black people. And Nama, if I can show her Nama people in South Africa, they will be amazed. Yes, the mixture part I do acknowledge in my capacity, which I respect, and it is true. But not all Nama are mixed. Your Kai Kaun are not mixed. Your Swart Boy are not mixed. Maybe in Namibia, from my knowledge, from the upper Namibia, from the beginning between Namibia and South Africa, they are not mixed. Those people you find in mix, it's when their forefathers who came and settled there in the early 1900s, right? That we can refer as mix. But original Lamas, if they want to, she must come to the Free State and see Nama people. She will see it's a person that looks like me and you. You understand? Our ancestors in nature, they were yellow bone. They were light in complexion. We cannot deny that. We cannot deny that. They were yellow bones. And the only thing I want to teach as well, she mentioned Mukwengu. Then the term Mukwengu, the term Mukwengu, it comes from the Timbugushi people. Timbugushi people, they used to refer to Kwe people, especially your Pumakwe, right? Uma your Tsetwa as well. By the way, remember I said Puma in Kwedam, it means the east. Just like in Xhosa, when you say Mpuma, they say Buma. Mpuma Kapa, Mpuma Langa, Puma, it's the same. So I usually say they used to refer to people who are known as your Pumakwe. Now the issue in Namibia is like this. When you read history from Namibia, Namas are made hypocrites because they say they used to hunt Bushmen. I question the logic because everything you need to question. How does Nama hunt Bushmen when they carry those surnames? If you go to your Kabingu, your Bondor Swats, in their bloodline, there's a Krum. They married Krum women. If you ask yourself, if these people they hunted Bushmen, fine. Why is it they have Krum people in their surnames? Why is it they have your Kongati surnames in there if they hunted them? And when you follow the history from your Kongati history in Botswana, they deny the history that's been said by Nama. They can only say that Nama people, they were different in behavior. But if you go to the Kalahari people, they reveal this thing openly. Problem with our people in South Africa, in those parts of the world, it's because of they reap of what they read, but not discovering. It's the same as when they say Kora people used to attack people. I ask a person, if Kora people were attackers, why are they found in KZN? Why their bloodline is found in Lesotho? Why their bloodline is found in Limpopo and even Botswana as well? Why is it only in South Africa? Do you understand? So that is my part that I want to say. Kora is a nation, it's a Kwesi. Nama, it's a nation, it's not a tribe. Not a tribe that will carry people that were innocent. Yes, there were people who were doing wrong things in South Africa. But I will guarantee you, Kora people, with my experience, they went to war with Barolong, but they've never conquered Barolong. They never sold Barolong to slavery, but they had peace treaty. They even intermarried with one another. They were relations of that sort. Even Barolong Bahaseleke, who are known as Baroka, Bomoroka, they came to Tabanchu with Kora people, to what is today Tabanchu in the Free State. And on the east side of it is Korana Karen. My question is this, in her, what I understood her, she wanted to say people were dark skinned. Because yes, you do find dark skinned Namas if you go to Namibia. You do find them. Those who came from through the Ovambos. You'll find a person who say, I'm a Nama, but I'm a Nama because my mother was of Ambo or my father was of Ambo. They stayed amongst Nama, they married Nama people, they became Nama. Do you understand? We have them in Namibia. But real Namas, if you want to see a Nama people are short people. You find taller ones or medium size, but short people. And if you want to see a real Nama, come to South Africa in Namakwaland, you'll see a Nama. Come to South Africa in Kumkama, you'll see a Nama. A Nama is no different to a Kati. Go to Kalahari, Kati people are yellow bone there. They are not mixed. This is their true color. They are like that. Do you understand? Even a Kora as well. Go to Kalahari, go and look at a Kora person, light skin. You see, because our color, they were light before Europeans arrived. We have a light skin complexion. And it's something that we should not feel ashamed to be associated with. Yes, our ancestors, they married with other people of other color, which is the truth. But in terms of saying no, Nama, they used to do that. This is a history that Europeans are hiding behind closed doors. They want to say Nama people, they attacked and they hunted Bushmen. I question this. We've had seminars in Joburg. We've had seminars, we questioned. We were sitting around Nama and Damaran people, even with Kwe people from Namibia. Where is evidence that Nama people did this? Because white people, they write dialogues which they committed, and then they make it as if it's other people. Do you understand? Nama cannot unite people and then they attack Bushmen for no good reasons, because the same Bushmen are the same people that we identify with Nama, but with different languages. Ekrum. That's why you have your Xhosa Kwa Mansokora. Xhosa Kwa people are your people who are known as Makaukau today. Bob Makau, you find them, these are your Xhosa Kwa. These are your Krum of your Xhoki. They are the same people. We have them here in Botswana, we have them in Limpopo, you have them in Lesotho, you have them in the Free State as well, in Northwest as well. These are indigenous people. These people, they integrate, they marry, they become lighter in skin color. But I don't want him to make as if our people were dark skin. No, our people are not dark skin. Yes, some of us, we have melanin more because of intermarriage that our ancestors had, but we are different. We still, when we lay naked, we see that we are coming from people who were light skin in complexion. So that's the only thing I wanted to teach her. The Nama people that she refers, these are Naman people. They are not Nama. They are referred to by the system as Nama. It's Naman people as well. Thank you very much, my brother.
Kamagu Tikasab. I wanna say this quickly. Just to add on what you're saying. You see that same Naman you're talking about. If you go to, I'll mention the Eastern Cape, in what they call Mpondo Land, or what used to be called Mpondo Land. There's a place called Kakuba there. In Kakuba, the earliest population there, it's people known as Ngamani, your Ngamani people. To this day, they are still there. To this day, they will tell you they were there since whenever in Kakuba in Eastern Cape. So I just wanna mention that it's and they are not mixed. I wanna mention that as well. They are Xhosa speaking. You see, hegemonies on what we call nations. Nations are not a homogeneous group of people. Nations are alliances. It's Ngamani, yes. Nations are alliances. These alliances form over time out of many different reasons. So today you've got people known as Amampondo. But the truth is that Amampondo are people of many different groups. You've got Xwecha and Xacha. And the descendants of Xwecha and Xacha, with their own mouths, will tell you where they originate from. And I'm telling you, they say they're Kwe. You've got Ngamani within Amampondo. And they will tell you who they are. Within Amampondo, you've got Mtwa or Imitwa, the Twa people, the Sigula people. You've got Nutu or Zangwa, which we profess as Tsaukwe within Amampondo. And I could go on and on. You've got Kwahu, you've got Chwawu within Amampondo, You've got, and then you've got the royal line of Amampondo now, the Kabe line. They come from Kabe, and then you have your Fakwe and your Ndamase. That's just one nation. There are 30 other ethnic groups which are called nations, and it's the exact same thing. They are of diverse bloodlines. That's how nations work. That's how nations are formed. The same with Zulu. You've got Kube people, Shays. You've got Nube people, the Baboon people. You've got Khunu people, the Iron people, Khunu, Nyanda, Yemikondo. When you say Khunu, it's Kuru or Kuru. It's a quiver where you put arrows inside. You've got Ungebe people, the Ngobesa. You've got Ngondo people. You see the Ngondo, one of the oldest Kwe nations there in the Eastern Cape, in KZN. You've got Nzima Kwe, you've got Kulu, the Springbok people, and all of that is Zulu today. You go to Xhosa, it's exactly the same. You understand? You've got Xhosa, the sharp weapons people. You've got Chawe, which we know are Chawe. You've got Tsicha, in Botswana. You've got Jwacha, your Jew and your Kha. You've got, I could go on and on. So once again, we talk about people as a group it's an indigenous political system. That's what it is. Same thing with your Korakona. Your Korakona have got many bloodlines within them because people marry, people form alliances. So your Korakona are themselves that type of alliance that was formed over time. So within Korakona, you've got descendants of your Ubikwa or your Ubikwa people who are a Kam descendant group. You've got descendants of Tauni within your Kora, descendants of Khatsi within your Kora, my forefathers. So we don't then, when we detach from colonial legacies, we also detach from group identity. We have to be specific. And I'm mentioning this just to extrapolate on what Tikasap was saying about maybe some section of Nama people did something, but what is the bloodline of that section? Because the Nama people who are in the Eastern Cape, who are still there to this day, have no idea of that. The Kwelane people who are in the Eastern Cape, who are Nama, have no idea of that. Again, Kora people, your Kora Kona, some are said to have done some things, like, for example, what you mentioned about raiding slaves or working for Europeans to go and unalive people. But my great-great-great-grandmother, a Kora woman, she was not there because this thing is just recent. My grandmother, in those years, she's already there. In the Eastern Cape, they had been there for quite a while already. You understand? So which Kora are we talking about? Where do these people come from? Are they actually Kora or are they Europeans who infiltrated Kora bloodlines? That's another thing I think we also have to address about the infiltration of these bloodlines. I was listening to an old lady, Outona, Outuna. She's saying with her own mouth that she's not a mixed race person. Now, she's saying it with her own mouth that she's Komani. She has no mixed race, anything in her. And I'm listening to Tuna talking. And then she has a sister, the one I see here, called Case. This is a woman called Case. You know, Case means great or big. In Eastern Cape, we have a big river there, Ngiba. It's called K River. That's why you have Transkei and Ciskei, which means beyond the K River and this side of the K River. But what I want is to mention that this person says they're not mixed. In fact, that's another thing that I want to beseech. Someone was talking about Eurasian DNA here. And that person who mentioned Eurasian DNA, I want you to explain why you mentioned Eurasian DNA when we talk about our ancestors. I'd like for you to explain that. When all evidence we know suggests that this is the origin of humanity, where humanity originates. But somehow it's very difficult for people to realize that that Eurasian DNA could not have given birth to people who existed before the Eurasian DNA. Do you guys understand? There's no way that my grandchild can give birth to me. I can only give birth to my grandchild. So I would like the Eurasian DNA group to come and maybe explain that. But I'll give Bitrika a chance to engage once again. Yeah, you may address the brother.
Things now I have to think very well of what he touched on. Okay, you keep referring to colonizer narrative, but you have to keep in mind that we are real people, exist with life experiences, and
Yeah, that's why we are here. We are
just
all
like
we are here.
yeah, just like any other person and any other family, the same way you were told that you had a great grandfather of this name and this name and this and that happened at your village and this and that. Those stories don't die with those who died. You
Yeah,
understand? So those ones who were enslaved by Namas, they know their story, and you can't take that experience away from them. Those ones who lost family members at the hands of and when it comes to the Bushman hunting, it's not a thing exclusive to Namas. It was something that even some Bantu people used to do in their own individual capacity because they were collecting bounty. They were collecting bounty. They were making shoes, purses, and stuff out of the skins of our ancestors. They were literally wearing shoes made out of the skins of our ancestors from their hands. You understand? So it's don't get it wrong. It's only that I was asking you specifically about the Nama people when this conversation unfolded, but I wasn't just placing that issue on the Nama people. And to the best of my understanding, it just didn't happen to Namibia only. It happened across the southern region. A lot of people don't even know, some of them, that they are of San, because their ancestors had to hide amongst Bantu people to avoid being captured or whatever. Like some of them ended up with Bantu names, so they can't even, their great children can't even trace themselves back unless maybe they had that conversation with their elders. You understand? So these are things that happened. These are things that happen, not just here. But there was something I wanted to respond to. I forgot. Do you know what? I'll unmute when I remember now, because he said a lot of things and
No, it's fine. Let me just, because I see people are asking questions. Thank you for that. Now, I hear everything you are saying, ne? And look, you should tell your story. That this is exactly why the live is here. You should tell your story. Say it.
He actually was saying, I'm sorry, host, to interrupt you. At some point, he mentioned he doesn't understand how somebody who carries San DNA could then turn around and commit such atrocities against the San person. And I'm using the term San just for the purpose of the conversation, not that we are reinforcing the colonizer terms. But remember that historically, especially the ones in the middle were used historically because they were taught that they are better. Because they were taught they are better than the other ones who are just 100%. But then they were also taught that you are better than them, but you are not on our level. You are less than, you are there, down there, somewhere in the middle. And they were used to also do, like, an example I can give is colors. Some of these colors are of our wombs, but they did the most to us with their forefathers, knowing well they are doing it to their mothers. So, like, it's not something that's not possible.
Okay. Now I've allowed you to speak. I'm gonna ask you now questions. Thank you for that. Once again, can you point us to specific regions and specific names? So, for example, when you say they committed genocide against us, for it to be genocide, it must be because of ethnicity. So, who is this they that did this? Can you point us to specific leaders, people who led the campaigns where they did these genocides. For example, like people will say Shaka did this in this area on this at this date, then we can actually go and confirm or rebut that. So I'm trying to give you now space to sharpen this argument and say they is A, B, C, and D. So you mentioned Nama, you mentioned Coloureds, you mentioned Bantu.
The Germans,
People, I'll
Germans
give you a
didn't.
chance. No,
Like,
no, no.
like,
I'll give you a chance to talk. Remember, we don't disturb each other. That's the only way this can work. So you said Bantu. You must explain what is Bantu, who is Bantu, and why you say they are Bantu. Did they say they are Bantu, or is it something you are using to label them? Who are the colors you're talking about? Where were they from? Who was leading them? In what region? Who are the numbers you're talking about? Where were they from? Who was leading them? So the three groups you mentioned that did the genocide. And once again, I'm only prompting this so that your argument is sharp, because at this point it can be very easy to rebut and just rubbish it, and I don't want it to be rubbished. I want you to tell your story properly so that the other people can also come and argue against it. So you said, Brother Kulwakaso said, how could the Nama unalive the so-called sun? And I want us to not use even the word sun. I want you to mention specifically what ethnicity you are part of. What is the name of your clan or your nation that was wiped out, or that was almost wiped out? For example, are you Kaikwe? Are you Kati? Are you Kho? Are you Hakia? And then the Nama did this to you around this time. They were led by the so-called Bantu, and you explain who the Bantu are, and the colors who did this. Who are they? Where are they today? So that we know, because we've explained how we view things here in South Africa. When you say Xhosa, in my opinion, that means nothing. Because if you say Xhosa, to me, you can mean a Gunu person, a Gunukwa. When you say Xhosa, to me, that could be a Kram person. When you say Xhosa, that could be a Nama person even. That's what Xhosa is. It's a conglomerate of different people. So when you say Xhosa people did this to us, they are not different from you, the Xhosa, because they are a mixed group of all these natives, all these indigenous people. So I want specificity when it comes to that. You want to say something?
He has asked for a bit of time.
yeah, just give me a sec. I'm also gonna walk away from my phone. It's charging now. I'm gonna walk away from my phone for 5 minutes. So like, I hope you won't touch on anything or ask me anything that I won't hear in the meantime. Nah. Please just give me
No.
just give me. Okay.
You let me know when you're back.
Just
You
know
let me
that
when
I'm
you're
not
back.
I'm not able to hear you. I'll let you know when I'm back in the comments.
Please do so. Tikasab, do you want to say something, or should I give Tikasas and the other Tikasas firstly to speak?
No, the thing is, I think in my narrative, she's confusing your pastors of Rehoboth, who are your Chrikwa. These are your Chrikwa people who were actually subservient to colonial power. As from the previous life, they asked me, who are these? They are confused with Nama because Chrikwa are mixed. They're European mix. So that's why he mentioned colored. Nama history and Korah history, it's always confused with this history. And I always say to people, do not confuse history with people who were mercenaries to the British and colonial authority.
Yeah.
Korah and Nama, they were not. If they were, there could have been evidence. We could have said, even with our own mouths, our ancestors were bad. We would have never been ashamed of it. But people, they confuse Chrikwa or Chrikwana Tarube. They are mixing it with Klengasi things. And hence I want to debunk it. The bastards from Rehoboth, they are the same people with the
Yes.
Chrikwa. They are not indigenous. They are white surrogates as well. So you cannot mix them because they used to do cruelty amongst indigenous people. Even when you read indigenous people in terms of Chrikwa, they will tell you Chrikwa used to look them down on them. But a Korah cannot look down on his own. That one is impossible. But I want to give others to speak. My brother, thank you.
Kamago. Thank you, Tikasab. You see, The reason why I'm asking the questions, because we have to have a setting. We have to have a setting of what exactly are we talking about. For me, group names are not gonna work. I need an exact period of time, an exact area, who led the campaigns, so that we know when we say the Nama did this. No, it's not the Nama. It's a specific group under a specific leader. Just a few days ago, I was talking to another brother, and I was saying, some Basotho who were under Letsie in the 1870s, Letsie, the son of Mshwesh, they were used by the British together with some of our mixed race people who formed SEMA or CMR, the Cape Mounted Riflemen. So you had the Cape Mounted Riflemen and you had Basotho under Letsie in 1878, and the British unalive an indigenous person in Mount Morosi in southern Lesotho. They unalived him. They killed him. The Basotho of Letsie, the Cape Mounted Riflemen, at that time, most of them were just of mixed race heritage, and the British were working together. Now the gentleman is saying, oh no, my people were sellouts. And I'm like, your people? Okay, wait. You are a descendant of sellouts. Were your ancestors under Letsie at that time? In 1878, were they there in southern Lesotho? He's like, no, my ancestors were never there. I'm like, well, this doesn't have anything to do with you then. The people who sold out are those people. There could have been another group of Bakwena, another group of Bahurute in a different region fighting against the colonizers. So when you talk about this group did this, you must know exactly who did it, time and date, and with whom and why. Then so that we don't go around labeling groups. So that's why the sisters want to come back to explain to us which Nama did this, which Bantu did this, and who's this Bantu, and who's this color that did this. We need answers to that. But then again, mixed-race heritage people are at the same time are not some mega homogeneous group. There are many people of mixed heritage that formed over time. I mentioned one, the descendants of Konrad de Buys. They were called the de Buys bastards. The descendants of Konrad de Buys were literally thousands, maybe after 50 years, because out of him came about 300 children. Who did he make the children with? He made the children with Kunukwa. He made the children with Xhosa. He made the children with Abatembu. In fact, the most noble woman he had was Yese, the mother of one of the Xhosa princes. Yese, the wife of Chachab, or the wife of Mlau. I'm not sure now. The wife of Mlau. When Mlau died in battle, Konrad de Buys took Yese and made her his lady. In fact, when Nyengana, also called Gubusha, Johannes van de Kemp, when Johannes van de Kemp arrived in AC, Ama, he met with Konrad de Buys. Konrad de Buys was the translator. So now, when we talk about mixed race heritage, we are specifically saying it's Konrad de Buys' children. Abantwana bakakula. You see, it's them who did A, B, C, and D. Same thing if you go to KZN. You can't just say, no, people of mixed race heritage. No. You say people of John Donne heritage. People of John Donne heritage. Abantwana bakaJantoni, the Duns, the Dawkins, the Greens, the Finns, the Spaldings, the Konrad de Buys bastards, the Balms, the Roscrews. All these people are mentioning are mixed race descendants. We know them. So who did this exactly? Because the next thing now, what we're going to have a situation where everybody is going to be labeled with one paint. But I know one gentleman, Willem Uithalter, of mixed race heritage. Willem Uithalter, he was not a sellout. He fought next to Makoma in the 1800s in Ngwen, Kat River, against the British, who were stealing all those lands. Willem Uithalter was fighting next to Makoma. In fact, he was Makoma's closest person. I know Henry. Is it Henry? Hermanas Matruos, called Ngukumesh in Xhosa. He's of mixed race heritage as well. In fact, they were taken from Kamduwa, Onweba, the Khafrenet area. They were taken from that area and sent to Nwenga, Kat River, to form a buffer zone. They rebelled against the British. So when you talk about such people, we must be specific. No, we're talking about this group at this time in this year. I'm mentioning these specific situations so that we don't generalize, oh, this group did this, I'm gonna hate them. Nah, that's not how it's gonna work, because people made decisions, they did things. We must be very, very, very specific. Deep Kasha Staunesis. Come on.
Dame. Tuho.
Tabesi.
Ngithulame. Sure. It's always interesting listening to all these groupings and standardization of indigenous people. And, we always forget that all of us, we forget that, I would even argue that the Southern African people are the indigenous people. It's something that I stand on. In fact, these terms of Khoisan, Khoi, in the groupings, the way Bantu, I honestly met these terms as I grew older. In Joburg, when you start going to university, and then you start realizing that there's these groupings of people. They are Bantus, they are Khoi, they are San. And when you go back to your rural house or home, you ask your grandfather, are we not San? He says we are Aboriginal. What is San? He doesn't even have this term. We don't have it in our languages. We don't have these terms in our languages. All that he will tell you is that, or all that your people will tell you is that we are Aboriginal. We come from here. We are as ancient as you can actually imagine. We never migrated from anywhere. And once you look at your clan names, the only thing that associate you with is those mountains in your areas where you come from. Unless if you can say that, okay, maybe I come from somewhere based on wars that happened in the past or disputes that happened. But then when you dive deeper into the issue, then you start realizing that our elderly groups, they only referred to certain areas and landscapes based on I would say the categorizations that they knew also in the past. I mean, my grandparents never referred to Zimbabwe as Zimbabwe. They'll say, Bukhalaga, like they'll say, Mole Matlaping Bukhalaga. That's how, by the stones of Bukhalaga, meaning the stony areas of Bukhalaga. And then when you ask them, every time when I would travel for business, they'll make these statements that, oh, you're going to Bukhalaga. Yes, I'm going to Zimbabwe. Okay, you're going to Harare, Bukhala game. But that's how they actually explain it. Oh, Bukoni. We are here. We are in Bukoni. So when you look at Bukoni, the landscape, explain it. When you look at where this Bukoni area is, realize that is literally the areas from the Limpopo River until the Singunyani in Lesotho is the highlands. And then when they say they're going to Bora, basically they're talking about Eastern Cape. They're talking about areas of the Cape. They'll say we are going to Bora. So that's how simplistic they are in their identity of landscapes. So anyone who comes from the area of Zimbabwe or the Zambezi, they'll say Kibakhalaka. Anyone who comes from the areas of Mozambique, Zanin, and Swaziland, they'll say Kibaroga. Do you understand? Those are the terms that they'll refer to them. So now when you grow and you meet people and you go to university, then you start being introduced to new terms such as Bantu. You start being introduced to new terms such as Khoisan and San and all these terms that you actually didn't know except by studying that they existed. All you knew is that Bale Bako, Eastern Cape, and the Free State, Deep Kibarwa. Those ones of Joburg, Limpopo, Mpumalanga, those people, Kibakoni, those of like Mozambique, Kibaroga. So like that's how simple they approached it, and that's how we were raised to look at landscape, or they would say Bahalagadi, in reference to those from Botswana areas towards Namibia. So it's so sad that today indigenous kids, one, they think they're a minority in the land of their ancestors based on the terms that have been imposed by Europeans, saying the San people even have come into extinct. Only 100,000 San people exists. And now they've created this problem whereby they identified a certain group of people and they named it the San, and then they created a problem out of it. And then eventually now they detached this name from indigenous people, and now we have this reference to this minority that should be protected at all costs now, right? Everyone who is a San is now, like even in projects, the way they would refer to it is like IFC standards must protect this San group, or this, like if we building projects, and then you're like, no, but we have Amakonakwa, they've been in that area of the project landscape forever. Why are they not being, or the Kunukas, why are they not being considered as the San that should be protected as you are building stuff in their lands? And it's those things, it touches into projects, it touches into people's identity, because now they're divided, relatives are being divided. Ekonakwa is not identified as the so-called grouped San anymore, because they are finding themselves among what they have termed as Abantu or Bantu people, or the Bantu people. So it's so sad, because we are many, but we are not aware that we are many because of the labels that have been imposed on us by Europeans over time, as they keep benefiting, and as we continue to be so divided and look at us ourselves as the San are those, and we are Bantu, or we are something totally different. The more the system benefits, and the more we keep losing instead of uniting on the identity. So our, like to people who are probably been listening, we never actually had the word San. It's not ours. We're just Aboriginal people who come from here. We never had terms such as, like a koi grouping. These are terms that are there in our linguistics. We have Mohonyana. Mohonyana in Sepedi means an in-law. Like Mohonyana is somebody that's going to marry you. We have Mohwa, somebody who is, like the essence of you. We have terms like Lekau, the real man. But then obviously we can go into the clanhood part of it. But the point that I was making is that as you grow older, you realize, or if you look at it from the most purest form and the most indigenous form, you realize that the groups that are in Bohalaga, being Zimbabwe, or Zambezi River, or Boroka, as in Mozambique, and the groups that are in Bugoni, and the groups that are in Borwa and Kgalagadi, they are similar bloodlines. Like they've got similar bloodlines. You find the Chua, Amachawe in Eastern Cape, Borwa, and then you find them as well in Kgalagadi or Botswana, and you'll find them as the Chua, as the Chua in Zimbabwe, Bukhalaga, and you still find similar Vatswa in Buroga. So if you can find all these bloodlines and all these landscapes of ours, clearly it's a sign that the divisions that that Europeans have imposed, they don't make sense. And I've always asked even the colleagues that I have who are European, I'm like, I will use myself as an example. We are the Goni people. You're saying that the Koni people or the Kauni people are the indigenous people. So you're dividing me from people who are exactly my bloodline. So you're saying me as a Mugoni, I'm a Bantu, but then a Kauni is a San person. Already that division is not working out, because you have divided the same bloodlines who are now categorized in different labels that you've imposed on them when you arrived in their landscape. So I think that's largely my submission to this topic. We've had a very sad history that divided our people. and we had people come in and pursue certain things and pursue our lands and take on our lands and divide bloodlines to the point about people don't know themselves, and it's sad. And the other part is that certain things that we even fight about, as sad as they are, I'm glad you're also asking for us to be specific, because I mean, we always had an issue, a bone to throw as Bakuni. We always not hated, but we always disapproved of Amaswat, because on the wars that we won against the Boer and the British, they say they brought in the 8,000 Swati people to come and fight us. And these Swati and his men, they came and joined in the Boers and the British, and that's how Buskukune inevitably lost their final war after they won a couple of wars. So, but then as you grow and you read more, you realize that, these were trade issues as well. It wasn't as simplistic as the way it's being explained. So I think for my sister, Ubi Trigger, I get her issue, but I think she needs to be a little bit more specific. And it's very sad in terms of Namibia, because the way they were killed by the Germans, it's a very sad one. And it's a very tricky one, because the way bastards that moved from the Cape to their lands as well. And at times, because bastards were also among our natives as well, it could have been one of those that moved through them or via them or used their name. But I hope to a certain extent there's healing.
Thank you very much. Just to add on that, there's something that Tikasab mentioned about Yonama, some of the Damara or Ngokwen groups coming from South Africa. So, you see, we know the Europeans had been coming to the country since the 1400s. Not that nonsense of 1652, right? In fact, the Dutch were here way longer than, but they settled in 1652. Yes, they built something permanent, a fort, a mud fort, and then they built the actual one that we have now, using slaves, of course. But here's a very important fact of what happened when the Dutch decided to settle. Within the first 30 years that the Dutch settled in Griep or Trikaba, so-called Cape Town, 70% of the indigenous population was gone. I'm not sure you guys are understanding. Within 30 years of Dutch settlement in Griep, 70% of the people who were in Cape Town left Cape Town. Now, those people didn't just disappear or melt away. They left and went to your Northern Cape, your Namibia, your Eastern Cape, your KZN, all the way to Limpopo. Perhaps others even beyond the borders of the country on the eastern side. So this is a fact that 70% of everyone who was living in Griep, you had your Kamakwa, the water people, Watermans. This is where so-called Auchumau, Eri, the strand loper, he was a leader of the Kamakwa. But the Kamakwa themselves are actually Kuriklikona. They are children of the Kuriklikwa. That's what the name means, Kuriklikona. Children or descendants of the Kuriklikwa. So you had that group. These are the people who were in the CBD of Cape Town. These are the people who are in the CBD of what is today Cape Town. So when you go to Cape Town today, the CBD foreshore was not there in those days, but where you have the Castle of Good Hope, Buitenkant Street, Buitengracht, all those places, those were the areas that were guarded by the Kamakwa, the water people, along the river, the Kamisa River, the water for all. These people were a small group. They came from a bigger group. The bigger group is the one that unalived the Portuguese in 1510. This group is Kuri Kaikwa, the Highlanders. the people who live in highlands on the slopes of the mountains. The Kurikleikwa, you find them Rwanda-Bosch, Mowbray, Rosebank. You see that whole Amazon thing that they built in Riverlands today. Yeah, those are areas where you had kraals or caritas of Kurikleikwa. They had cows, our Magu cows. The same cows people are claiming came from somewhere else. You see, if you would follow all these nonsense theories of people, you would believe that South Africans never existed until 1400s. Until the 1400s. Because everything, according to all the scholars, came from somewhere else. Cows came from somewhere else. The skins we're using came from somewhere else. The food we eat came from somewhere else. Everything came from somewhere else. Somehow, this is the oldest DNA in the world, but everything else came from somewhere else. Doesn't make sense to me. I refuse to believe that nonsense. The first usage of fire by humans, the evidence is here in Southern Africa. The first invention of art and writing is here in Southern Africa. But somehow everything else came from somewhere else. That's complete garbage. I'm not going to believe that nonsense. Anyway, 1510, the Kurikleikwa moored the Portuguese back to the sea, and the Portuguese ran away. The Kurikleikwa are the same one who gave birth to your Kuriklikona, the Kamakwa, who met with the Dutch. But the Kamakwa met with the Dutch before 1652. Not in 1652. Before that, the Dutch had been docking and staying, even for months, even for a year at some point, on the Table Bay. The Dutch were staying. In fact, Kore was one of the first people to leave the country and travel by ship and go overseas. Way before Ochumao. Kore did that. They went with him. He was one of the chiefs. And then Ochumao did that as well. You see. So, in fact, the name Ochumao refers to somebody who's always amongst fish. Oh is a fish moss from Oub or Obi. That's why you have a river, Nuba. Anyway, so there were people. That's what the point I'm getting to is that there were people in what you call Cape Town, Cape or Kaba. Different communities call it different names. The gathering of clouds. If you know about the tablecloth, the clouds like to gather over Cape Town. So it's quickly. Kurikleikwana, you had your Ohokwa, the people with sharp cheeks. Ohokwa, you had your Klinikwa, you had your Gurikhurikwa, many other groups, all the way to the peninsula, Simonstown today, all the way to the West Coast. 70% of all those populations were gone within the first 30 years of the settlement of the Dutch. So the Dutch settled in the 1650s. By the 1680s, the natives were gone. Only 30% remained. Those who remained were made into slaves. And then obviously the women were taken, children were made out of the women. This is where now you get your so-called Oorlams and your so-called Gerikwa. It's the European men. But the European men at the same time are bringing slaves from West Africa. 1658, the first batch of Angolan slaves arrives in the country. This is where most of the so-called free blacks of the Cape or the black farmers of the Cape, they came from those slaves. They could buy their freedom and go and farm. In Constantia, the earliest owners of lands there during the colonial time were black farmers who were slave descendants. You had people from Franschhoek who owned farms. One of the, I don't even want to mention names, but the names are there. We have names of them. We could even do a call out right now. We've got names of the people. You're from Angola, you're from Guinea, you're from Mombasas, literally meaning from Angola, from Guinea, from Mombasa, from Cameroon. Those are the people who came and replaced the population that was there. Do you understand what I'm saying? All you have to do is just look at pictures of the 1800s, the people who lived in Paarl, the 1800s, people who lived in Worcester. Most of those people were slave descendants. The actual natives of those lands went to Namibia. They went to Eastern Cape. They went to... It's crazy today that the likes of Helen Zille will tell you people who are going back to Cape Town, a lot of them descendants of the same people who left Cape Town, they will tell you, you guys are economic migrants. No, you took the land, Helen Zille. You stole the land of the people You're telling me that Ngosin is a migrant in Cape Town? Ngosin, Etuosh is a migrant in Cape Town. Egikwa is a migrant in Cape Town. What the hell are you talking about? That's exactly what we're talking about here. Bloodline doesn't change. I don't care if you have hatred for bloodline does not change. My people are my people. Whether they're in Lesotho, they're my people. Whether they're in Northern Cape, they're my people. Whether they're in Northwest, they're my people. So 70% of that population was gone. And this is what feeds into some people penetrating into Namibia at some point. But they come from South Africa. Not to say there were no people in Namibia. There were obviously people and related people, by the way. There were people all over the Drakensberg. My ancestors, for example, are from the Drakensberg. I still know the caves where my ancestors lived. I don't need anyone to tell me. I know the caves where my ancestors lived. I can visit anytime. It's in Lesotho, it's in KZN, all the way to the desert, you see. So, when we talk about groups of people, then we must be cognizant who we're talking about. You can't say this nation did this. For example, the sister Emukoni used to say the Swati people, 8,000 Swati people did this. But what is Swati people? What is Swati people? You understand? It's vague. You need to be specific. Or it's Swati people who were living during this time. Out of them, only 8,000 did this. You get it. So I'm hoping that B-Trigger is gonna come back. I don't wanna say my opinion on the stuff. You guys know my work. A lot of you have been tuning in. You know exactly what I teach. But I wanna give people a chance to speak. Before I go to Mimi, maybe Mimia, go for it.
Dumelang guys, Dumelang everybody. I have a completely different question. It doesn't because from my previous live I was talking to the gentleman at the bottom because I have some questions now about my people because I'm spiritually gifted and the things that I am shown are things that confuse the life out of me. So my grandfather is not very
Yeah.
helpful. Do you understand? He's my maternal grandfather. He's not very helpful. So nna ke Mpulane, ne? And being raised as a child like okhulele eJoburg, we don't know much about our history in depth. And it's even worse when you find out that you're spiritually gifted because you have a lineage to trace back to in order to understand. You understand? So
Yes, yes, sir.
my grandfather once told me that they ran away from Ebkosini, I assume in Bushback Ridge, right? And then because right now my home is in Raskukune. So they ran from Bushback Ridge and then they settled Raskukune, and then obviously, procreation happened. But what confuses me is that the people that I saw in my dream having a royal wedding were looked nothing like the people that are in my family. Not look nothing, but I don't recognize them at all. But this was a royal wedding. They were tall, skinny people who had, I don't know if I should say shiny, like dark skin, like they were melanated people.
Like Nilotes.
Yeah, something like that. It confuses me because kuthiwa mina kwamele ngilungise. But ngiyolungisa kanjani if I don't know ukuthi inkinga yaqala kuphi? Right? So you know how in spirituality they tell you ukuthi ungenwe ikhehla and all of that, yabo. Lashonele empini, and my family ran away from eBushbuck Ridge ngoba bekunempi yasebukhosini. I want, can you please, I don't know if you can tell me about that particular WAR, because I really need to understand, because la corner I'm at a standstill completely, if that's okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Tikasab, do you want to engage here and now?
Yes, I want to engage, and I want to also to engage after, because in the previous live we mentioned this. Ke kgopela hore ke bolele ka Sepedi. Is it fine I speak Sepedi, my brother?
Yeah, no, that's all right.
Before le tsena tate Qurua, kgopela go botsisha. Se
Yeah?
simi tame
Are
le kae?
re gona le kae?
Re gona. Mpotjeng, ke lena ba gamang?
Ba ga Malope.
Le ba ga Malope. Ba ga Malope ke ba go tswa Bushman Ridge. Wa tseba gore ke re ba ga Malope ke ba Koni.
Ke ba I want, a ke tsebe selo se se wa mpona ge ke le mo a ke tsebe selo.
A wa tla re
Selo I want to do it now.
Martla tla re kobe ga botse. Ba ga Malope ke ba Koni, ba tswa kwa dithabeng tsela tsa kwa Mashishing. Ba ile ba tshaba bokgoshing ka baka la dintwa tsa kgaleng. Wa ikwa?
Ke a ekwa sese.
Jwale o ba hwetša Mapulaneng le hono, o ba hwetša le ka kua Matebeleng, wa ba hwetša le ka kua Sekhukhune. Ba ile ba tšhaba, ba bolela nnete, ba ile ba tšhaba. Ba ile ba tšhaba dintwa tsela tša kgaleng. Mara Malope ra e tseba e diretong, ga o lebela direto tša Matebele, ba moletlane ba na le Malope eo, ba tla re Motebejana Malope. Mara Malope ra mo tseba. Ke tlo go fa information. In fact, I was reading about them ka gore ba tseba ka kua gae. Mara ke tla go romela information ya borago la gago.
Ke a leboga sese, because le gona
ga o tse kgola a se wene le fulane aowa ngwana thari.
Because you know what also confuses me, I hope langwa because network ya ka ya nsabotage right.
No ke a go kwešiša.
Ntho engwe e ntshwenyago ne ke gore nna ka go tseba ne Mapedi we don't wear isiphandla akere
ke ba Koni wa ikwešiša keng. A se
Bakoni ba para siphandla,
a se Bapedi. Bakoni ke ba le ba hweditša, o ba hwetša dithabeng, wa ba hwetša Lesotho, wa ba hwetša ka moraga thaba ya ka Drakensberg Mountain, wa ba hwetša. Wa ba hwetša Mazulu.
we have family ko
dithabeng tša godimo ko Golden Gate, wa ba hwetša. Ke ba Koni ga se Bapedi.
ka se Bapedi, so rena re Bakoni.
Re ba Koni a se rena Bapedi. Mara ke tla go botša.
This is also confusing. Jwale ntwe nna ke nokang go ikušiša gore Siphandla le Bakoni di sepelana jwang.
Ke tla go botša yona ka morago.
Okay, a gona bothata, ke a leboga.
Tama.
Re leboga kudu. Wa tseba ke yona gore re be gona mo lifeng re gona go rutana ka gore sesi o boletše ka tsela a tsebang ka gona, le nna ke a tseba e pša ena o tseba le go phala nna. Se nka go botšang sona ke gore o swanela go tseba nnete, because nna dilo tše ka moka I always share le bona, le yena Qaqa Sesepe ke a share le, and then nna ke motho le gore ke šoma le batho nako e ntši ne, and then batho ba gona ke kgwetša sefane be ke kgwetša gore wa tseba keng so le gore ke šene ke le ke senyaka se le gore se pategile wa bona. Bjale nna ke nyaka gore ke tsene gagolo kudu mo e le gore toro ya lena o bona batho ba e le gore ba ba telele ba daka right. Wa bona toro e ka se le gore o ntšhe mo mohlaleng epša ke ka goreng ke re nna ke gopela gore dilo tše e le gore o di bontšhwa mo torong di dumele gore di tlo diagala e le gore ke mohlomong ke sesolo o sa se tsebeng le te o tlo hwetša nnete, and nnete ya gona o tlo gologa ke nnete, and o tlo feletša o tseba nnete ka moka. E re ke thome ke tenbebjana wa bona re bolela ka bapulane ba gona ko Lesotho, ba gona le Eastern Cape. Eastern Cape ba gona e le Mamvulane, ga ba tseba ba gona. Ke ka gong re bontši nako e ntši batho ba le gore ba na le tlhaloganya gore Bamvulane o Bapulane ke batho ba go neša pula. Re tseba la mathomo gore batho ba tlile, they were traders, ba tlile ka dikepe, batho ba gona ke Mafulane. If you go to West Africa le East Africa, o tlo ba hwetša batho ba, even going to Arabian Peninsula, wa ba hwetša batho ba originally batho ba gona a ba tšwe mo Africa ka moka, but they come from what is today present day Arabian Peninsula. Ipša se se o boletše Kgaunisa se o boletse gore ba ile gore bana ba tšhaba ke ba le gore ba feletše ba nna e le bona ke bakoni ga le botse. Bjale nna wa tseba toro ke yone le gore ke nyaka gore ke tšentše mo yone ka gone toro ya gago yone ya rereša, toro e ka se letlegiše mohlala. Ke ka gong ke re ke kgopela lena le latele se le gore le se bontšhitšwe le nna gore ke tsebe le kgono ke tsebile ka taba gore le nna ke la sepela, and go sepeleng gaka ke iphile nako gore ke tsebe ka gore nako ya gale ne ke bontšhwa dilo ke sa tsebe gore ke o thoma kae. Ipša nako ke thoma ke latela mehlala e le gore ke bontšhitšwe ke bagolo, ke mo e le gore ke kgwetša nnete gore ke hlakana le batho be le gore ba na le experience, be le gore le nna ke thomile ke tšwa ke ya bo Western Cape ke sa tsebe selo, ke thomile ke ipona ke le Northern Cape ke le ke sepela mafelo a Free State ke sa tsebeng selo ka gona, ke sepela ke ya North West. And ka mo gone ke biletše ka gona le life e fetileng marapo e leng a bo tatemogolo ke ona a boletšeng le nna, e se marapo ke sa tsebeng. Kgale ke ya marapong a mantši ke zange ka connecta e le gore ke butswa gore ke kgoši sekhukhune or ke di ya mohlala fela. Ipša ga e le gore nka hwetša nako nna ka connecta le motho ke tsebang gore o ke a connecta le bloodline ke tlo mo lora. Ipša marapo a bo tatemogolo rena ka moka ke connectile le ona, and I've connected le ona, and ke be ke le gore I received that power ya gore batho ba gona be le gore ba ntala kiba wa bona. Tabagolo ke reng ke mohlala ke gore rena mo Afrika Borwa re na le this thing ya gore we don't allow the spirit to dictate us ka selo se re se nyakang, ka gore nako e ntši o bone batho ba ntši ba feletša ba le gore e ba gafa because a ba dumelele se le gore ba se fiwa, ka gore ka nako nngwe rena re ka o thuša re ka re di ya so. Ipša jene ya gago e tseba ko wena o le wena tee fela lankwa. So ke ka gong ke re nna se ke se kgopelang fela ke gore o le ngwana moya le rena re bana ba moya ka fela rona mo re a swana re swana ka moka. Ipša nna ke go fa mohlala e le gore o tlo o thuša ka nako e latelang. Ke gopela wena dilo tše le gore o di bontšhitše o gopele gore ba o sheko. Ipša a bona sesi Kgaunisa o bontšhitše gore ba se le gore ba e le gore ba le ba tšhabile ba ya ko bokoni bona ke bakoni. Ke gopela le ona o explore taba gona o e bone o e latiše mohlala gore o diagetše, because ke tlo botša something and ke tlo botša wa tseba go na le bana ba thari ya kgwe o kgwe. Ke o botše nnete bana ba gona ba manifesta ba bolela ba na le go tla mo WhatsAppong mo ba mpotša gore wa tseba keng go na le se se diagalang so ke manifesta so le so le so, and ngwana gona a manifesta ke a mmotša gore o manifesta eng, ke manifesta so le so. Go na le nkgono wa ka o rile ka o latela seboko sa motho wa kwa gore motho ke mokhweo, and then e be le gore wa mmotša gape gore kgang ya gago e thomile kae. Ke ile kae lefetlhong mo lefetlhong le kile le gona ke hweditše so le so ba mpoditše so ka re ngwana mokhwe ga a swariwe ke mang no swanetše wena la mathomo ditoro tša lena e le gore la le tšea di iša galagare o ye galagare mo sa tsebeng o tlo hlakana le batho be le gore ba tlo le thuša kudu. So ke ka gong ke reng lena tlo swantse le gore se le se filweng se ka la tšhaba o tlo tseba wena o be le curiosity ya gore ke nyaka o tseba o tlo bona wena speed sa go se ka se o latlhegiše motlhala o se ka wa saba gore a be o botswa gore sedimo sa go ke mang ka go batho ba rena ka moka kudu jeni ya rona e swane go thuša motho ke go mmontšha epša nna nka se kere o so epša o bontšhitšwe batho ba ba rileng mo torong le tlhalošetšwa gona e be le gore ya hlaka ke kgopela roelo e phatla gape o kope o bile gore o ba kope o le gore se ba o bontšhang sona ba uše mo go sona and nna se ke se gopelang fela ke gore don't allow people to dictate to spiritually wena e be wena fela be le gore o nako e goditšeng o e kwa mo e le gore go botse ka moka gona ra swana mo epša jeni ya rona a e swane ba bangwe ba e le gore ebile thata ba bangwe ebile jeni e le goreng ga e thata epša nna ke re mo lena ke a kgopelo ke a le kgopelo ebile ka le khunamela se le se bontšhitšwe mo torong sa bogosi le tlo kgwetša a gold e le sa e tsebeng o le kgwetša kae tšea jeni eo batho ba e le gore ba bontšhitše le ba kgopele gore le ke kgopela gore le diše ko bona mafatšheng a bona so that le wena o gona gore o kgwetše so se kgwetšang spiritual le wena o gona go putuluga ke a leboga ke lebogile kudu ke lebogile.
Yo, guys, I'm not gonna sleep today. Yes, young trauma. You guys are traumatizing me. Okay, because the last sentence that Ubaba mentioned about gold, the people in the dream were wearing gold. Like, guys, like one thing about my
People they wear gold as well. Ke ka go nke reng dilo tse le gore wa di bontšhwa ka mafulane ke gopela nna o dumele nna ke re a ke re dia so ke re ke gopela o tšee mohlala o dieshe le gore wa se bontšhiwa because o ya West Africa bo Nigeria wa ba hwetša mafulane they migrated there, they don't originate, they originated what is today east of Arabian Peninsula e re kodiele mohlala wa bona nna le qhasise a ke le mošomong ke na le mo sherela disenemi tša Eastern Cape ke na le mo sherela dilo tše dingwe a se mo molaong a ka swana la go dia bjalo right epša nna ke diang ke tšea senepe ka nako ngwe be ke sa di o ka nakong ke diang ke a mmontšha gore mone bona fanetse re bolelang ka tsone go na le bo falata go na le bo fulane ko Eastern Cape motho wa gona ga o nyakešiša ka ena o kgwetša gore motho o ke momvulane ke ka goeng ke reng ba mpotse batho ba gona ke re mo lena dilo tše dingwe re tlhakana le tsona re a di tseba ke ka goeng ke re nna ke kgopela ka kgopelo nna ke a gunamela ke a kgopela se ka ba traumatized re tswa mo le rena re sa tsebe re le gore ka nako nngwe re dilo tše dingwe sa tsebe gore re tlo di swara bjang ga le re sepela batho ba bantši ga le ba re botsa ba re o swanela o dia so o swanela o dia so o swanela o dia so ke tlo o botsa ba butwa ka lena o kile a lora lena re sa le banyana I think I was in my teenage stage ke sa foše I think ne ke le 17 or 18 ba butwa ka na le bo ma 24 so be mmontšha o na le mmeo mona mmontšha o buta ka bile a bua ka yena mmeo a re mmeo na sepela le tate mmeo wa gona o na le mošošo e be le gore they were in a waterfall bjale e le gore o buta ka botša a botša mmeo mmeo wa mmotša gore sa le le kae sa le re le nyaka le tswa kae wa bona e be mmeo wa mmotša gore neo ya lena le e nyaka bjang a butwa ka bele gore yena o hlalošetša mmeo ka moka gore ne ya rena tate o rile yena ya bongaka a e nyake epša e le gore le re fa nneo re tlo emogela ebile a e nyake ya bongaka mme o a tšea ntho white thing a re tlotša ka yona mo mahlong a go fetša go tlotša ka yona ebile a tlotša nna go feta moo ebile o butwa ka mpotša wa tseba ntho eno e le gore o butwa ka e bontšhiwa re ya maqhung ko maqhung ba diile sene mmeo la na se dia moo and mmeo wa gona e le le ngaka lankwa bona disoso se di agetše back in 2019 or 2020 o butwa ka sa la lora soso kgale ke kgale kwa a lora ka sona e be le gore mo a lorang ka gona e be le gore rena re hwetša tšela gona ke be ke buta ka kere wa tseba this very strange thing ka tiragalo le sa gopola gore le bontshitswe mme o so le so bomme ba rona kiba ke tate moqhong le mme moqhong ke dingaka batho ba rona maro ka se ba bone le dingaka lankwa o goditse yang obuta ka bile a re mona wa tseba se ile gore ba re bontsha ke mofuta rona o ke re ke mofuta rona ile kudu so ke ka go nke re mo lena ke gopela nna ka gopela se la tshaba se le la senyaka le tlo segwetsa believe in your journey that wa a ka sa o botse dilo ka moka ka goba ke tlo botsa nna ka maqhora o thoma botsa moqhora la mathomo mmotsa ka heritage ba thoma ba kwata pele e be le gore ka morago be le gore ba khamile down wa moka gore wa bolela o phuthulla pelo ya gage gore se e le gore o tlo botsa sona o se tsebe goba wa a ile gore o thoma a kwata o gabišwa ke taba gore they've experienced trauma ka nako ya gage lankwa so tate wa gagwe le ene be le gore a sa kgone go fa dikarabo tse di nyakang ke taba gore tate wa gago ke gona le tse dintse le gore o di experimentile o tribal ke ka gore nka go botsa ka sona ke a leboga.
Yeah, just a quick one. So Mapulani is a hegemony of different clans. There's Bagoni, there's Bapai, there's
Mukone,
Batwokwa.
just quickly, please, guys, note that Beatrix is back. So, Mukone, you just submit what you need to say, and then
Yeah.
we can just quickly continue and finish.
It's just a quick one because we have a lot of Bagoni who fell under the hegemony of Mapulani today because of what happened in Mashishing Mountains when a group of Bagoni Bahwedi were actually displaced from their homes. So we've got some of them who are Mangwani among you guys. We have some, we call them Bongwani on our side. So these are like Leidenberg Mountains and Limbombo Mountains. History says they were mostly based in that landscape. And you've got a lot of Bagoni in that area. Now today they are Mazulu. Some of them are the closest by you guys, and some of them are, but we know them as Bagoni. So Malope was one of the kings of those areas of Bagoni, and he left to these people. We find him now as far as within Barolong today, and we find them also among your Matebejani, especially or Mutebejani. So we find them as Bagoni Batlu in among Barolong, and we also find them in Rasikukuni. So just to affirm Sesi, to understand that if he's finding the Malopise name or Bumalopi, they're not Mapulana, and they're not Barolong, and they're not Babedi, they are actually just Bagoni kings who, due to circumstances of politics in the 1700s or even 1600s, found themselves within Mabulane today. If there was any intermarriage, it happened there in Mabulane with other people, maybe Mabai or other people from different backgrounds, but Mabulane in themselves, they are Bagoni. I mean, Malopi in himself, he's a Mukoni king, and we know Malopi, Hoshi Malopi. So just to affirm her.
I'm gonna drop. Ceci, can I please follow you? I need to speak to you. Galibura, guys, you guys can go back to the previous topic. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. All right. I just want to answer one or two questions before I give the sister. Someone asked what happened to those slave descendants from West Africa, those early farmers. Well, most of them married back into European society here in South Africa. They married back into Europeans for economic reasons. So a lot of them are actually white people today. A lot of the farmers, if they would do their DNA tests and do their DNA sequencing, you would see 4% West African, 2% West African. So there's that. And then some obviously mixed with the locals, the few locals that are remaining, that 30%. That's why by the 1800s, when some of the locals were, the DNA samples were, or the censuses were being done, that really reflected if you go to early pictures, 1800s pictures of Paarl residents and Worcester, that region around the Bergrivier, it's clearly visible that some of these people were West Africans, but also there were East African people from Kenya, from Zanzibar, some from Ethiopia as well. But that's the point, is that those slaves basically mixed with people, primarily Europeans, but also with other people. But also, that's why I say be very careful of groups like labels like colored and white. Be very careful of those things, because I can tell you right now, there's a late colored lady. There's a late colored lady, I think Donna Roberts. She acted the place of Krotoa, as they say. She's an actor, but she passed away. What people don't know is that that lady is actually originally a Xhosa speaking. Their family, they're originally Xhosa speaking. She said it herself in one of her interviews that their father told them when he was on his dying days, his last days, that we're originally a Xhosa speaking family. And there are many others. I was in a group, people from Steenberg area in Cape Town, from Retreat. They would tell you, oh no, there was a family of Dlamini heritage, there was another family of this heritage, etc., etc. I mean, Gayton Mackenzie is a good example as well. So the groups, these big group identities, you have to actually go in detail and, understand who the individual is, because the individual comes from a bigger group. So that's why whenever someone mentions like some vague group, for me that's not good enough. You must tell me exactly who you're talking about. What is the time period? What is the physical location of all of this? Mr. Salt from PA. That's a Komani King when hey, that's a Komani chief. Don't play here. Sister Big Trigger, the floor is yours.
I'm back.
Yeah, so we're still talking about well, people had questions. Let me just show my face. People had questions. I mean,
Oh,
you
I thought that
mentioned
was you. I actually thought that was you.
no. People had questions. Remember, I'm asking on their behalf. They can't really ask you directly.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the picture at the back. When you said, let me show my face.
Oh no. That's someone who lived like long ago. But yeah, we do have some resemblance. So I want you to tell that story of yours. Who are the people who did the hunting? Because here's the thing, ne? And I'm gonna tell you something you probably don't know.
Mm.
There's a place called Ngwenga. The place called Ngwenga is also known as Kat River. It was a settlement that the British tried to build. So the settlement is how the British normally invade lands. They come and build something. They bring in people that will fight for them, and then they instigate fights and all that. Then they bring the army. Then they do that in another. So they built Kat River, Ngwenga. But Ngwenga was already a place occupied by my ancestors. But within them was a so-called Bushman chief, a person called Madura or Maduru. In isiXhosa, he's called Madolo. There's pictures of him. There's books about him. He held a gun in his hand with his armies, with Europeans, to kill our people. So that's why I'm saying, now if someone is naive, they're like, yo, the Bushmen, they were sellouts, yo. But that's not true, because there's no Bushman. It was Maduro and his followers. My ancestors did not kill people. In fact, they fought wherever they went. They fought with Europeans. They fought with Europeans in Sterkspreid, in a place called Heschel. They fought with Europeans in Kuting. They fought with Europeans in Tabamuros. Every single place where my ancestors were, I know they fought. There's evidence There's landmarks named after them because they were not sellouts. As in fact, even some people of my bloodline, like Robert Sobukwe, he was in solitary confinement in Robben Island. Even after that, he was put under house arrest until he died. You see, we sacrificed ourselves for this land. So now, I'm always against group labeling to say, oh no, the Nama people did this. So I wanted you to drill down and give us the details of who exactly did the hunting, because it's a very big part of the narrative that people put out there. Are we sure it was the Nama? Are there Nama families that are known that this bloodline of Nama people were hunting people in this area? And also, if you can give us a bit about your people who were being hunted, those people want to go and confirm the events you are narrating, they can go and confirm. And who are the Bantu? You mentioned the Bantu, a people called Bantu as well, who hunted your people, and people called colored. So all of these labels, for me, I don't understand what they mean. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know what Bantu is. I don't know what does colored mean. Does it mean people are mixed? So anyone can be mixed. You understand? Trevor Noah is mixed. So does Trevor Noah fall under the group of the people who hunted you? Did you get what I'm trying to say? So it has a lot of vagueness right now, and people want to hear the details so that we understand if there are tensions that you harbor for certain groups. We understand that these tensions are genuine. You understand? It's not just maybe as a
Yeah,
result
I
of
hear you.
propaganda.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. Okay, let me see how I can phrase this. Yeah. Like I said earlier, it's not that the Namas were primarily the hunters of Bushmen. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the main perpetrators were the Germans. The Germans was the main perpetrator. At some point, it was a guy Theodore. At some point, it was a guy Frederick. I can search the exact names. Around the 1800s there. Okay, here let me start from the beginning nicely. Where like I was telling them at the other live, at Mimi's live, about the Urlam, how they took over certain territories and how Windhoek was established, right? That was like around the 1830s to 40s there, when Yonkar was moving from down from south to coming up north up until central Namibia,
Yeah.
where Windhoek is now. With Yonkar was in cahoots with the Ruinasi, who were already here, and he had his own militant armed men that he was moving with. They were already ready, like European armed human beings, armed by the Europeans, with European weapons and horses and everything, like Okay, then Yonkar got to the central Namibia, established Windhoek. You see, already from down south to the center, he had a stronghold here with whoever was backing him. The Germans were terrorizing from the middle, going up north. You get what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So like from central to east to the northeast, northwest. Even though in the north and northwest, not so much, because those territories were also like occupied by some Bantu clans that entered through Angola. Those ones, they entered around the 1500s. Those ones, they know where they come from. They recite their lineage. Those ones, like Awambo. I don't know. I actually, that's why I was interested in the Bantu conversation earlier on Mimi's live, because somebody was talking about some Mbo and what.
Yeah.
And those things, and mentioned the Awambo, they have a migration history within them, right? And okay, do I need to go into those things, or let me just summarize?
Summarize, yeah.
Yeah, let me just summarize. Okay. So like with those ones as well, when they were coming in, you know, like half of their tribe is still in Angola. And some of them crossed over to here. Obviously, they were also clearing the indigenous who were already in the northern parts. There's still some Bushmen. There's still some Bushmen in the and sorry for the use of the word Bushman, man. I hate the word, but for the sake of the conversation, there's still some Bushmen in the north, but they have been, you know, minimized in numbers and also pushed out of the lands. And on the northwest is the Herreros also doing the same and pushing, going to the center. So now the Germans were conducting patrols with their frontier troops and all these other people that they were working with. Yeah, they were doing patrols around. Now with the Urlam clearing to make their own settlements and those other like groups like the Basters, the what. I wouldn't say it was specifically the targeting of San, but more off of the land, to do with the land and settling on the land than it had to do with targeting them for being San. But the patrols were literally targeting simply for being Bushmen. What quote unquote Bushmen. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what else I didn't answer. I'm
No,
not
it's
a
fine.
historian. I'm not a historian. I'm just saying from the best of what I know. I don't know much, so we can unpack this together. I don't know much.
Of course. No, don't worry.
So somebody said, tell us about the Awambo. There in the comments.
No, it's fine. Let me just ask one question to Kasab quickly. Tell me a bit about your people.
Sorry, who did what?
No, I want you to tell me a little bit about your people. You remember you said you were also mixed. Just give me which ethnic groups are you mixed with?
Okay, here's the thing. With us here on the Zambezi strip, formerly Caprivi. I'll say the word that I know now, what I know now, what it's called.
Yeah.
Which is square, and I'll write it in the comments. This is how the tribe is called, ne? Oh, why did the comment get filtered? But
Yeah, no, I can see it.
KHWE.
I can see.
Simply, I think you can also you can find information about online about the tribe that I'm going to mention.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the northeast Zambezi, right?
Yes.
And in Western Caprivi, there's like the Tirikus, the Yeis, the Tirikus and the Yeis. With the Yei, it's because you see where they are set. Sure, this is complicated to simplify.
No, don't worry. I already know some of this, so I understand.
Let me try my best. You see, like with okay, when it comes to the Bantu partner, there's like a whole chunk of gap there that I might not be able to fill when I'm narrating this.
Yes.
But to the best of my understanding, the Barotse kingdom was just one, which occupied parts of Zambia, Botswana, part of Zimbabwe and Angola.
Yes.
Yeah. So within that, there's sub-tribes or clans or whatever you're gonna call them. But right now, even the variations of language have there's difference now in the way people speak, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
There's Suvia, like my mom is Suvia. My father is the Kwe. My mom is Suvia, right? I'm a mix of like 4 tribes. There's Suvia, there's Fwe, there's Kwe, and there's Kalakati. Our family in
Yeah.
Botswana. Um, the Mafwe where they are located, it's like the Yeis are in between the Mafwe and the Kwe or Mbarakwena, Makwengo,
Yes.
whatever you wanna call it, right? And so you find that the Yeis, their language is a mix of these two. If you listen to it, it is a mix
Yes.
of these two languages. If you listen to it, it's a Bantu people with cliques because of the. I can't explain how that came about.
Okay.
I can't explain how that came about, right? Who else? Who else is in the region? Wait, what was your question actually? Oh yeah, you were asking. Yeah.
No, I wanted to ask. Yeah, no, I was asking. Remember, you said you
Yeah.
had
So you
mixed
are asking what
heritage.
happened to our people. Nah. So this is what
No,
happened
you
to our
already told
people.
us about that.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you wanted.
You already told us, Agiri, they were
Oh,
being
okay.
hunted.
All right. Yeah.
So I wanted to know
Yeah, for the
who is
most
these
part, a
people
lot of
that were
people
being
had to
hunted by?
hide, you know. For the most part, a lot of people had to
Yes.
hide. But also, we still managed to preserve some clans still managed to preserve the culture as is in the bush till now. Where some of us
So
have
if someone were to ask you,
integrated with other people in you know. Ask please.
so if someone were to ask you, what's your ethnic group right now? What would you say?
Okay. If you were to ask me right now, and I will just be very, very honest with you. Okay. If you were to ask me right now, I would tell you that I'm Suvia. And the reason that is Suvia.
Subia. Oh, okay. Masubia.
Like my mom's tribe, because like I was raised more comfortably in being Suvia, like confidently without any shame. Whereas I was raised to be ashamed of the other side. I'm just gonna be very honest with you.
All right. Yeah, I know the Subia. I know Masubia, Mafue, Mashi. I know all of that.
Yes.
And yeah, thank you for that. No, it's fine. Thank you. Guys, so what she's saying is that she's of mixed heritage. There's people known as the Masubia. The Masubia people, you've got Mafue, and then you've got the Kwe. That's the thing about those regions in the along the Zambezi River. There are Kwe people there. In Namibia, there are Kwe people in Malawi, there are Kwe people in Zambia, there are Kwe people in Angola, but obviously they've got different like for example Angola, you have Kokung in Angola, whose language is very similar to South African languages, by the way. Okay, that's good enough for me. Tikasap Urua, would you like to say something?
Thank you very much, my brother. Now it's revealed now where she's coming from. And once more, I want to apologize if I was harsh at her beginning on the other life. I now understand where she's coming from. Kwe people that she's coming from, you have your Kanikwe, which is your Kanikwe people, the side, your Kanikwe, right? Your
Yeah.
Kanikwe. And then you have your Keichwao from that side, right? From the Caprivi. And then we have your Buga Kwe people are your Kanikwe people, Buga Kwe. And then you have your Kromkwe, we have your Tarikwe.
Sorry, I was muted the whole time I was answering until you sent me the mic request. I was busy answering you. Yeah, and what we call Tsumkwe, I don't even know how to pronounce it properly.
It's Chumkwe. It's Chumkwe. It's a place. That is a place where Krom people, especially your Jungwa generation, the Jungwa people are found in that area.
Yeah.
In Chumkwe, in Namibia. It's in Namibia, right?
Yes. Sorry, I'm busy answering you, but somebody muted me already. Sorry. Yes. Go ahead. Sorry.
All right, no problem. What I'm trying to say to you, The Kwe in South Africa that come from Angola, that come from some they were brought by the South African army. But myself, I don't disregard my own kind. Whether the army of South Africa they've left them and brought them here and just dumped them like that. Kwe Krum people are my people. They are my own people because I don't see myself different from them. The way they behave, I don't see them different. Let me make an example, my sister. You said you're a child of the 80s. I was also born in the 80s. I was also a child of the 80s as well. There's one thing we need to be very square about our people. Our queer people in Botswana and those in Nama, they are the same. Nama, Kora, Echwa, those are queer. Even your Naro, we are the same. In fact, Kora language is related to Nama and Tsuikwe. Tsuikwe language and also Kana language. They are more or less the same. They differ there and there, but when they speak, I can hear them when they speak. Nama people, I can hear them, but they differ there and there because of certain phonetical tones they use. I differ with them. But as they start a conversation, I can hear them. He's saying this, but in the middle of conversation, I can hear that this person has drifted off. I want you to understand this. We have queer people here in Bloemfontein, in Kas, in Kimberley. People from Angola, Caprivi. We said it's no more Caprivi, it's Zambezi. But we call it Caprivi because of this is how we were taught to identify it. But I'll respect the manner that you said this is the what's this? It is the Zambezi because it is in the middle between what divides Namibia, Zambia, and also what divides Botswana and Zimbabwe to Zambia as well. One thing I want you to understand, you and I have one kind because when your father is a Kwe, means you are one with me. Whether your father is from Angola or Namibia or Botswana, you and I are one. Because Kora people are Kwe people as well. You understand? The term Koi Koi, it's what we know as Kwe. It's Kwe Kwe, not Koi Koi. It is the same Kwe. The orthography is different. Some they write it Khou right? Some they write it Khue. Some they write it Khwe. I prefer to write it Khwe because it's easier to make people to understand. Because your African speaking person, when he reads Kwekwe, they say Kuku. You understand? And in my observation, it misconstrues the word. But if you write it in Khwe, that's appropriate one because a person cannot say it is a koi. They will know that it's a koi. Now, remember, Kwe bloodline in Botswana is related to the ones in South Africa, even those in Namibia as well. Your history, it's very discriminative to a point that most of your Kwe that were drifted off from what is today Eastern Cape, KZN and Lesotho, most of them they went to Botswana. They travel as high as to Botswana because in Botswana they were also subjugated to Botswana as well. Your Sotho groups, and they were placed as Bakwena under a Bakwena leader or they were highly oppressed by the British. But when you read the history, they deny that. They deny being referred to as Bakwena. Even Kachasi Zep as well, his people that side, they were also subjugated under Bakwena as well, which in my capacity, it's what happened in South Africa. When they embody you under a tribe that does not conform or describe you. Do you understand? Yes, you were brought up the way like many of your queer children in South Africa who were taught to be Zulu, Xhosa, or Sotho, whereas they are not. You grew up like them as well. And most of them, they were absorbed into learning into languages that doesn't they were found on the system because they were prevented from speaking their own true language. So that is why I say to you, there's one thing you need to understand. Yes, there are people who are mixed heritage. And also when you wrote about Ovambo and Abemo in South Africa are one. We call them Ngcebe. These are your Ngcebe people. It's the same. Abemo in South Africa and Ovambo or Ovambo is the same in South Africa. They are the same people. We call them Ngcebe. They are different from us. You understand? It's the same as when somebody says Okraba Roti, Okraba Loti, Okraba in Koko Zambia. Those people, they are the same. Some they say they are generation of Sebetwan. That is why most of them in Zambia they like to come to Lesotho. Why? Because of their language. It originates from the Basotho people. Do you understand? So that's why most of us we like to say this. It's better to find your roots or to find what took place, but not through schools. Because I taught many quiz. I said, look, even you guys from Platform Day and Olifantshoek, some people they believe you assisted your South African army, SADF, to fight in Angola. But myself, I don't care what happened, whether it is like that or not. All that remains, you are my kind. There's nothing different from you and people in the Eastern Cape or people in the Northern Cape here or people in Lesotho. You don't differ from them. What I disagree is here you didn't harm anyone. And even if you were brought here, it doesn't mean in Caprivi or Angola you belong there. You belong here now. You are part of here. You are one with us. It's the ancestors, they made it for you to be here. For example, queer people in Platform Day, they behave like our people here. The way they held meetings, women they sit the other side, men they sit the other side. Go to the Eastern Cape, you'll see the same thing. Go to our people in the Free State, you'll see the same thing. And men, they are amongst themselves. Women, they are, and not even amongst men. They are on the other side. And queer people, they hold meetings under a tree. It's our culture. I know that. I've seen that when I grew up as well. Platform 10 people, they have 80 to 90% of things in our culture. It's just that we differ there and there in our culture. But a queer person, a Kora person is a queer person. A Nama person is a queer person. It's just that we differ in terms of how our ancestors did things. Myself, I'm a Kora people who used to go to initiation schools, a male initiation. Some Kwe people, they don't do that. But I'm one of those Kwe who's from a nation that went to a Dorohas. Do you understand? So that is our culture. No Kora who he says is a Kora without knowing that, because our ancestors, they recorded that you must go to a Dorohas to become a Dorohab. That is why you become a Karob. You become a Karob. That is why they say Karob or Kwarob. That is why most of Batwana that's why even your closer speaking person will say Ikwala, it's the same. Do you understand? You are a Kwe, your Barakwe, and your Taichwao, these are your river, your rain people. You say Bara Obura, right? It means rain. These are your rain people. I know that most of them here in South Africa, some of them I'm good friends and brotherhood. We trust each other in everything because we're one. I'm one person. I don't choose. That's why I say to you, it's good that you expound it, but I don't want you to have a wrong perception of what was done by the pastors, the Rehoboth pastors, with other groups. Because I'll tell you, the number of your Kai Karakwen, which in South Africa they are known as Abanglahuan, they fled to Botswana and Lehwane. They fled. Why did they fled if they were assisting Europeans? Do you understand? And other numbers as well. In Namakwalet, during the apartheid, when they brought the Kwe people during apartheid, they were the first one to absorb Kwe people who were from Caprivi. They were the first one. In Namakwalet, they were the first one. And then the apartheid government wanted to remove them again. They took them to Olifantshoek. They removed Kim up until they ended up in Kimberley. Why? They put them in concentration camps, in tents. You understand? It's only then when we discover, when we were growing up, we saw them, but these people are like us. They behave like us. They do things like us. Do you understand? It's just that they are proud of speaking Kwedam, and they're also proud of speaking Kundali as well. My point is, it's good. I support your sentiments. You led. But whether you grew up from your mother's side, you are my kind. You are Kwe. As long as you say your father is Kwe, it means you are the same as me. Whether you come from Angola, Zambia, Botswana, you and I are one. Because we know my father's aunties, they taught me they were Kwe. They didn't mention Kwe. They mentioned Kwe. How did they know that? Because they were taught. And by the way, people who gave birth to my father, those people are old. They were born in the early 1900s. Most of them have passed on. Only one survives. Do you understand? So that's why I say, in your capacity, it's fine. But remember, Nama and Obarakwe, they are not different. They are the same people. It's just that the other ones speak Kwedam, the other ones speak Kwegwa. Like Kora speak Kwemana. Yo Naro speak Kwekwe. We are all one. We are one. There's no Bushman and whatever. We are one. Thank you very much.
Kamagu, I want to just quickly. Someone is saying you are suffering from Hunter virus. I found that to be very funny. Please drink some herbs, Tikasab. Drink some herbs. We don't want you to lose that voice. But there's something that Bitrigger mentions that Bitrigger knows of her Kanikwe identity, but is ashamed of it. And this is interesting to me to see it even in Namibia, because you know that, Tikasab, you know that more than anyone here in South Africa, some people, once you mention anything with Kwe, they will bite you with teeth. They will eat you up with teeth. I remember just a few weeks ago, there was a gentleman from the 80 people. I'm at 80 clan who told me he's not Kwe, and he was so pissed off that I mentioned Kwe. And it's generations. It's generations of that shame that you feel when people say you are Kwe. There was another one who was a Jwach. Yo! I said, Jwach people are Kwe. He's like, no, Baba, don't you ever say that. He left the group. I've seen many. There was even a Ticha. Guys, do you understand? The clan names are literally, you could go to Namibia and look for Ticha people. You'll find them. He's a Ticha here. He's like, no, I don't have anything to do with Kwe. Leave me alone. He's like, look at me. I'm not naked in the bush. I'm not naked in the bush. And that's the thing. And then we have a brother here, just there, the gentleman. He's a Kamsholo from the Mkwe people. Kwata, you see. So it's just amazing for me to see that even in Namibia, there's that stigma. Fortunately for myself, I was never raised with that. Maybe because my parents were never educated. They were never westernized. There were people who still believed in herbs, who still believes in the cave, still to this day, still believe in the rivers and the mountains and the big game of the forest. But it's something like that. I don't want to take any further because I have other responsibilities to take care of. But today was not about me. I wanted to just give you two a chance to actually talk so that we can understand each other. However, Bitrigger, Urua Kauseb, Kauni says, we're going to do this again tomorrow around 6, 7. I need you guys to come in again. It's going to be much longer because there's much more stuff we need to talk about. It's good that we've got someone from Namibia. We're gonna get more people from Namibia now. Now this is where we start bridging the gap, because you cannot have Kanikwe people in Namibia, Kanikwe people in South Africa, and they don't talk to each other. You cannot have Hatsi people in Namibia or Kanzi in South Africa, and they don't talk to each other. You can't have in Northern Cape and Amangongo in Eastern Cape, and they do not talk to each other. So around 7, 7:30 tomorrow, please join. I'm gonna give my brother Amsholo just 5 minutes, 2 minutes even. Amsholo, Kwak. I think Amsholo is asleep now.
No, I'm not asleep. No, I'm not asleep. Thank you, Chambers, for inviting me. Hey, brother, I've learned a lot today. Greetings to everyone and greetings to you, Gab and Dad. Yeah, man, I've heard a lot, and I've heard you speaking about the Ngamane people. I just wanted to add on that. Ngamane of Maseko stocks, they are found also in Swaziland. I think that the indigenous people of that area. Yeah. Tomorrow I will also be joining in Jambas, but I would also like you just to add just 15 minutes to break that history that was written by Tio Songa, the Abambo people, saying that Mpondo Mise and Klesiba are brothers. This is a big mistake. A lot of people have been like misled. I've been like following a lot of people saying that Mpondo Mise are brothers. Like we learn history saying that let's say like I'm Sholo, there should be a certain king that will have to give birth to Upai, and Upai will give birth, like saying like our history is like a ruler. I think we should also look at those lineage, those genealogy, to understand history, because people are learning history from the Western colonial side. This is how they understand. Like Nguni gave birth to Xhosa, Xhosa gave birth to Zulu. I think we should also try to unpack that thing. And it has caused a lot of misunderstanding. But I'll be there tomorrow and listen to it. But thank you so much, guys.
Kama-
Yabona masakho uthi bakhumsha mun.
It's good to hear from you, Kwat. Thank you very much for that. I totally agree. Tomorrow we are going to look at those histories of Mampodo, Sibe, Podobise, and you will see how ridiculous all of that nonsense is. The whole nonsense of Nguni, what is Nguni, who is Nguni, how does Nguni come about? We need to actually decipher that. There's a gentleman here. Who's this gentleman? Ulukanyo Wagwandokose Nala Umpembe. Lukanyo, yesterday I had a live 2 hours 36 minutes where I was just dealing with isiZulu. Go to my YouTube and watch that live. If you think you know isiZulu, go to my YouTube. I'm deciphering the real isiZulu now, not the made up one of today. The real isiZulu. There were actual Zulu speakers. And I'm saying this because you are saying, Zulu, Hinta, nothing to do with Kwe. Just go and watch. It's 2 hours, 36 minutes of pure isiZulu. Umashia, Uhlubi. In fact, even the Hlubi, even Amahlubi, you Hlubi people, you need 5 hours just dedicated to you, because you guys are confused. I dealt with Amazizi just a week or 2 weeks ago. Now I need to deal with Amahlubi, because Amahlubi, today they are saying A, tomorrow they are B, next day it's C, the other day it's D. It's sad, to say the least. But don't worry, guys. We are here. My YouTube channel is Sandile, which is my first name, Tukani, which is my last name. Now, one last thing I want to say, and I need all of you to listen. You see, guys, you need to learn the languages of our people. You will be shocked. See, I hear the word Bantu being thrown around. And most people don't even have a clue what they're talking about. You see, Bantu and Abantu are two different things. Bantu is a man-made thing. Nobody called themselves Bantu. It doesn't exist. But Aba Ntu Obatu is a real word. In fact, it's a Kunkia word. Now, in Kunkia, there are prefixes. These prefixes act as noun classes. So the prefixes and the suffixes are also there. There are also pronouns. Sometimes when something is in plural, we add a suffix. I'll give you an example. Twa in Kunkia is a child. Twane is children, which is amakwan. Twa or twane, amakwan. It's ku, it's people or women. Kude, it's many women. Suffix. Sometimes we add a pronoun before the word. So a good example is the pronoun for they. It's ba or aba or abi. My brother Kurakawsep already knows this. They is ba, aba, or abi. But if you understand language, the pronoun is built on the prefix of the noun. So a good example is abantwana, children. It's literally built on ba, the pronoun of abantwana. It's bona. So that bona is built on ba plus a constructor, an extra constructor that is added on the word o plus na. So it's ba plus ona, which gives you bona. But the real pronoun of abantwana is ba, which is the plural prefix, and it's the base of the plural version. And that's exactly what is used in Kunkia. It's exactly what is used in Kunkia. So that ba or aba is there in Kui languages as well. And they talk about ntu or ba, tu or whatever. Tu, ntu, that's exactly what the core people refer to themselves as tu. That's why their language is called ta-an. Ta is a plural version of tu, which means a person. So when you say ba, tu, both ba and tu is a plural form of another plural form of the people in core. And go back to my video from yesterday and the other day before on my YouTube, because we have to stop speaking from a place of ignorance. We must speak from a place of awareness. When you speak from a place of ignorance, it makes you look stupid. It makes you look dumb. It makes you look naive. Now, it's fine to ask questions, but when answers are being given and you keep on asking stupid stuff, then it becomes detestable. It's no longer enjoyable now because we are not children here. We've got things to do as well. Costamako ngujamba sengulisa ngucanze ngusaza ngohlangovelweni usidulungu bemhlophe. Kusandlala nca nguncagala lona. Kumfende ezimabutho hlona xa kutshona ilanga. Nguhlathela ungothiwa selivutho lothiwa zimfende kubimfene zibaninilo. Kupheka iqhakuba ngengxawana, kupheka iphemphem ngengxawana. Kurhwala emgodleni ugeqa amazwe. Thekwa ngoblembe entabeni madoda sinxolwa ngomhluza amanzi ekhona. Thana ke amanzi othweni konyele zikoma phambi kongqalo ngqinqa sinoqhuqhu qhamowelelo beholi. Punzi kasemfutshane ethunga emanzi othweni. Kuwoyini bafazi bentsikizi etshona iphazama ithabatha edoda ngomlehlatyelo isifazi. Ntsima nkulu kayithu intaba kahili sixa somile somezo zintshaba. Kwadela mgqwetho. Camagu. Thank you guys. The live is over. Thank you for joining.
Tama, are.
Thank you. Guys,
Kama